This is the Wiiboy Color 2.0. It's an improved version of my original Wiiboy Color from 4 years ago. It still plays GameCube and Wii games flawlessly, it's still the same size as a Game Boy Color, and it still looks very pretty in both black and white. But now it's been updated with a variety of improvements to make it the most polished portable Wii I've ever made. If you haven't seen or don't remember the original Wiiboy Color, then I'll give a quick breakdown for this thing. It's a portable Wii that doesn't rely on an emulator. Instead, it has a real Nintendo Wii motherboard inside of it that has been cut up and rewired to be the heart of a completely portable system. That trimmed Wii is surrounded by a variety of circuit boards to re-add features that were trimmed off, like game loading over USB, audio for a speaker and headphone jack, and a built-in GameCube controller. It's great at running Wii games, GameCube games, and Virtual Console games, because those are the games that a Wii is good at running. Much like the original, the goal of the Wiiboy Color was to cram a portable Wii into as small of a Game Boy case as possible, while making sure that it's chock full of features and, still reasonably pleasant to use. Let's bring the original back into the picture to show off the differences, starting with the display. This 480p IPS panel is very similar to the originals, but this one has a bezeled screen with some proper protection. The screen is also the perfect size for the Wiiboy Color. If it were any larger, then I would have had to make the shell wider than a Game Boy Color to accommodate it. Now, let's talk about the controls. Many commenters called out the use of Joy-Con joysticks on the original Wiiboy Color, which are rather notorious for drifting. Surprisingly, only one customer of mine has worn the joysticks down enough for them to need to be replaced, so it's not a decision that keeps me up at night. Just to be safe though, the new version uses Hall effect joysticks, which should have a longer lifespan than the stock Nintendo ones. Several people also claimed that the triggers and Z buttons looked uncomfortable to use. These comments were 100% correct. Something I didn't show in the video was that the little trigger buttons can also just fall out of the case, meaning that the original Wiiboy Color has actually been missing a trigger for quite a while. I took it to the Midwest Gaming Classic in 2021, and some rotten thief tore a trigger out and never returned it. So to make it more comfortable and to better protect it from miscreants, the Wiiboy Color now uses this larger, flatter design for the triggers, inspired by the G-Boy. Now, the insides of the 2.0 look pretty similar to the original, though I've made some important improvements. For starters, there's less than half the number of wires inside of it, as I've included connectors for most of the circuit boards to just lock into each other. These connectors are a pain to solder into place, but they save me the time of soldering dozens of wires. The worst part about building the original Wiiboy Colors was assembling the complicated circuit boards myself. So this time around, I made it so that my boards can just piggyback off of the pre-assembled designs from 4-Layer Tech. I also used a custom flexible circuit board to route the video wires from the Wii to the screen, which is easy to install and combats interference much better than the bare wires I used before. I'm also happy to tell you that this flex cable, these cases, and all of the other circuit boards used in this build were provided to me by today's sponsor, PCBWay. PCBWay has been a staple of this channel because every project I do needs really clean 3D prints and custom circuit boards, and PCBWay consistently provides both. At this point, I've gotten just about every variant of clear, dyed case you could ask for, and each one has been gorgeous. Their PCB quality is very consistent, and you can get 10 custom circuit boards for as little as $5. This was my first time using their Flex PCB service, and I was very pleased with the results. If you're in need of circuit boards or a 3D printed case, then I'd highly recommend checking out PCBWay at the link in the description. I'm very happy with the way that the final touches came out on the 2.0. For starters, you'll notice that this new version has the logo better emblazoned on the front. The original Wiiboy Color did have the same logo, but that was accomplished through a water slide decal, which, as you can see, has worn out quite a bit. Some people can accomplish really clean permanent decals with water slides, but I am just not one of those people. This time around, I got in touch with professional console beautifier, The Game Dungeon, who used his UV printer to get the logo permanently affixed to the front. The black case does have a smeared logo, as it was a test piece that wasn't configured quite right. The white case is much more indicative of what it should look like. This final logo just adds a beautiful bit of polish to the final design. I'll definitely be doing more UV printing on future projects. I've also gotten quite a bit better at resin casting buttons since the original Wiiboy Color. With higher quality resins and dyes, I'm able to get much more consistent and vibrant results. The better resins also mean that it will take much longer for the buttons to yellow, which is a relief. I do want my projects to look like official Nintendo creations as much as possible, but I'll pass on having my buttons turn yellow like an SNES shell. And now, for the most important change of all. The Wiiboy Color 2 is a whopping 0.5 millimeter thinner than its predecessor. Now, I've made a lot of cool improvements and changes to the Wiiboy Color itself, but I also need to remedy one big mistake from the prior video. Last time, I told people that wanted to buy one to message me directly for information about the price. The Wiiboy Color video performed very well, which was awesome, but in the months that followed, I quickly received over 10,000 messages. It was an avalanche of my own making, but I eventually got so burnt out that I just stopped responding to new DMs. If you messaged me and I didn't contact you back, I apologize. This time around, I'm gonna tell you the price up front. It's $1,500 for a fully assembled Wiiboy Color with all of its accessories. If you want more information, check the description for a link to my lovely website where I break down all the info you could possibly want in great detail. I would like to do another video in the future breaking down the costs, labor, and issues involved with selling portables, because I personally like seeing how other people's weird businesses work, and mine is definitely odd. The reason I didn't put the price in the original Wiiboy Color video was because I was worried about getting lots of mean comments, but most strangers on the internet have been pretty nice to me, and the occasional mean ones haven't fazed me too much. Except for the guy who came into my 24-hour stream and said, quote, "This dude looks like the kid at my school who sits alone and eats only lemons. Like all he eats is lemons." End quote. I googled every variation of that sentence. Nobody has ever said that before. He came up with that just to hurt me. Anyways, here's some good news. If you want a Wiiboy Color but don't want to spend $1,500, then you're going to be able to build your own. The circuit boards, case files, and parts list are all going public, so you can buy everything and build it yourself. As soon as I verify that a couple of changes I made to solve some USB issues actually solves those USB issues, I'll be making everything public. I'll put out a community post on my YouTube when that happens, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. Fair warning though, this build is much trickier than the other open source portable Wiis out there. It requires a Wii trim with a NAND relocation, some very tight fits, and the ability to assemble your own circuit boards. It'll be a real challenge if you choose to take it on, so best of luck. And I think that just about puts a bow on my last portable Wii video for a while. I know I promised a new kind of project in my last video, and that idea is still in the works. It just ended up being a lot more complicated than I'd intended. Expect to see a video about a much more modern modding job, a much more retro console mod, and maybe even something about a giant 3D printed fish. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.